William Randolph Hearst historically has been widely charged with fanning the flames of the Spanish-American War due to a desire to sell newspapers. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brayton and welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be considering why this may be a misconception.
Generally, it's believed that Hearst wanted America to fight Spain over Cuba because he wanted to sell newspapers. He just had no higher purpose than running up his circulation, making more money. That's the story as it's told. What was going on at the time? Spain was in possession of Cuba, and Spain had money problems, so it was squeezing its colony in Cuba for all it was worth and trying to get more money out of sugarcane and everything else that was going on there. Cuban people rebelled against Spain. They didn't want to be squeezed. Hearst looked at this and said, America was born in a revolution against the British Empire when the British Empire started squeezing the colonies in the U.S. We sympathize philosophically, politically with the Cuban people, so he was supporting them from the start. Spain starts losing its fight to put down the rebellion in Cuba and starts resorting to harsher and harsher measures to try and put it down, including rounding up all of the civilians in the countryside and putting them effectively into concentration camps, 400,000 people on an island of 1.6 million. And they began dying by the tens of thousands and eventually the hundreds of thousands of disease and starvation. This really outraged Hearst, and he wanted America to step in and do something. Hearst just kept beating the drum on behalf of the Cuban people, and eventually Washington did step in diplomatically, and when Spain wouldn't move, they stepped in militarily and cleared Spain out of Cuba. And I think it's one of the most heroic things that a newspaper's ever done was to encourage the government to step in on behalf of the poor Cuban people who were just devastated by the effects of this rebellion and Spain's efforts to put it down.
And what about that infamous quote I know most people have heard?
Yes, well, Hearst, during the Spanish-American War, sends Frederick Remington, the illustrator, to Cuba to do some work. Remington writes to Hearst at some point, purportedly, wires him saying, there's nothing going on here, I want to come home. And Hearst is alleged to have said, you furnish the pictures and I'll furnish the war. Nobody's ever found this telegram. We're not sure it ever existed, and if it did exist, it probably didn't mean what people have taken it to mean, that Hearst thought he could just whip up a war in 6 weeks. Hearst was a lot shrewder than that, and at the particular time he's alleged to have sent it, they were a long ways, Washington, from intervening. A lot's been made out of it because people have this sort of outsized picture of Hearst as this big, cynical monster with amazing influence and power who could do something so outrageous as just start a war in order to fit his illustrator's time schedule. But it's part of the legend of Hearst and part of why we're fascinated by him, but it didn't really happen.